We are at John Force Racing here in California, and we are going to take you through their shop, their garage, and their showroom with the man himself, John Force, and Fast Jack. Let's go see him.
Basically, this was a car dealership, and I was in a shop across the freeway, but I needed to expand. I had multi-car teams, parked one on one side, parked one on the other side, then we got more teams, and pretty soon it just went crazy. So I took certain areas, I put a roof on this place, and there's certain cars in here that, I won't get into the history, but like that Cadillac I bought from Armstrong, but that was for my mom.
So Dale Armstrong, Hall of Fame crew chief, really good driver in his time, kind of changed the way drag racing was run, and when he retired from crew chiefing, he started restoring Cadillacs, and he did it better than anybody.
I bought that because my mother always had a dream car, Cadillac, and it was kind of cool. The first car I bought was that Viper,
yes.
And then later I bought this from Ford.
The Ford GT is pretty incredible.
Did I hear you say that you crashed the Viper?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
You want to hear that story?
Yes.
I drove down to taking my daughter for a ride, and I went around a corner and I ran into a curb on the off-ramp.
Oh.
And it ripped the whole front end off. So I took it back down to the Dodge dealer down here, and he's a big fan of ours, so he said he'd fix it. He made it brand new, he brought it back and left it to me, and my friend Bruce Thorson came into town. And I went out and I said, hey, let's take a ride in this, see how it drives.
You said Bruce Larson.
No, Bruce Thorson.
Gotcha.
So I took him and took him for a ride, and we went down around the corner. As I'm coming back, what I told Dodge was that you're so low in the seat that you can't see the curbs. And I'm driving around telling him how I went down this way and down the street, and I ran into the same curb again.
The same dang one.
So I took it back to the dealer, dropped it here, and the guy just shows up. Hey, how do you like it? He goes, wait a minute. we fixed that thing. And I said, yeah, and I hit the same curb again by accident. That's how stupid I look.
I want to see the bus.
Yeah, I had it done kind of like Elvis inside and everything, but I've driven it. I took my daughter to school, Ashley, to school in it, and everyone freaked out.
I bet.
But Chip Foose built this bus for me.
Yeah, I see the center cap on the wheels. Hello.
Yeah, I bought the bus, and it was just an old beater, and then a guy stole it from here.
What?
And it was Craig had set it up to get it stolen so it could go to Chip Foose. And the cops came.
It was a very rough shell of a bus when it was stolen, yes.
Yeah, it was a beater.
It was an overhauling.
So they took it on their TV show, they did it, now they're trying to buy it back, offered me $500,000 for it. I said, when you get to $1 million, I'll roll it out here.
And Bell Gardens is significant.
That's the town where I went. And then the bus is kind of cool.
What was the significance of buying the bus, though?
Because I rode to school. That bus is a 1954. No, that's a 1949, my birthday. And that...
May 4th.
Yeah. That bus was just a bus that I rode in. And I'd make my daughters laugh when I'd run into the back of it. That bus has a deal because I rode in that kind of a bus when I was that age. And all these cars, not these, I didn't buy personal Corvettes, but that's kind of how it all kind of started. I took my daughters in that Ford Woody. I always wanted one. When I got some money, I bought it.
John, where did Untouchables come from?
Because I was winning everything and nobody could beat me. So we named a car. It's in the museum.
Well, real briefly, Night Stalker was a tribute car back to your beginnings in funny cars.
Yeah, that was a Jack Christman car that I bought in the early days when I had no money.
Your very first funny car?
No, I drove funny cars before that.
But the Night Stalker was a throwback to one of your first funny cars that was actually rear engine, transverse mounted, chain drive, right?
Yeah.
And Larry Sutton loved that car.
Yeah, they threw me out of Irwindale because the chain came apart and it started spraying everybody with links. And no one run those kind of cars.
For good reason.
So
it was worth a try.
So we came up here and we designed it. There used to be racks full of cars, and I moved a lot of them to Indy. A lot of them are in the building next door you don't even see.
That's the awesome thing about this museum, John, because it's not just big stuff. It's not just full-size stuff. You look at all the display cases, the trophy racks, everything's a story in there. We got to talking about the first trophy John ever earned, and we're not quite sure if it's here or at his house there, but there's a story behind that, and there's a story behind every trophy out here.
This is a room of pictures and stuff, fire suits of my girls and myself, and I decorated it, and then I took it apart and redecorated it again, where they could come in now, they can put in a ton of seats. I decorated the walls. My daughter Ashley was first, and then Brittany and Courtney, and that's how it all took place.
So this area,
Awesome.
like John was saying, used to be a lot more congested, but when we get down to the museum itself and then what used to be the race shop, then you start to
Oh
see
my gosh,
what busy looks
so
like.
many
Yeah.
cars down there.
Come with me, I'll show you something. This is just stuff that I've collected, police stuff, jackets that they've given us and honored us. And let's go down this way.
John, some of the significance of law enforcement, your brother, Walker.
Yeah, he was sheriff's department. I wanted to be a cop, but I couldn't pass the test. This is our upstairs, my daughter's office and the boardrooms over here. But here's what I wanted to show you, some interesting stuff. I just turned it into a museum.
Well, you got so many trophies and so much cool stuff, you got to just let it overflow into all the important rooms, right?
Yeah, so just helmets and pictures.
It's not just the trophies, right? Even with 300,
Just like awesome
well,
stuff.
John Force Racing's up to, I think, 320 something overall wins. That's not enough to fill a museum. But it's the different sponsors, and it's the promos that
Yes.
go with it, and it's the different cars, and it's the mementos, and it's the things that the fans give you, and it's the pictures that walk you through the history. To me, that's one of the cooler things is the cars are awesome, but the pictures let you see a time and space and the people. And some of those people in pictures from 40 years ago still work in this building today. It's amazing.
These are just pictures of the history and stuff from the old days playing football. And I took my
You
pants
had your
off.
britches down there.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a
Yes,
story
I
there.
did. He walks away.
This is Ashley. She's got a TV production company, so she makes movies. And a lot of these, you see the boards. Friday the 13th. That was something I
Yes.
wanted. But anyway, that's her office, and this is a production because we make our own videos, films, everything. Here, we'll just go through this way. This is Brittany's room.
Brittany's office.
Yeah. Okay. Come on. This is my office, but I don't come in here because I don't like working out of an office. So
Your office is kind of epic.
Yeah.
You got to admit, you had a piece of their racing history.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
guys have raced together forever and ever.
all my champ rings are in there, all my watches.
But remember, John started out as a truck driver.
Yeah,
You were a truck driver, John?
and I'm going back.
I'm going back.
Well, maybe John can give you some pointers.
So anyway, this was this was a game room that goes back in there. That's other stuff. But this was a room where people came and filmed.
There's you and Dolly. Yeah.
So, did you say that Kenny Rogers and Dolly came to this building?
Yeah,
For what?
because we did a show called Off the Wall.
Didn't know they
Castro
were in
paid
here.
4 years ago, and then the producer died in Hollywood, so it never happened. But here's what I wanted to show you. This here is my daughter had a. I'm going to stop here in just a minute. We built a sound room. A band can go in there and play, but this was kind of a cool because we can record videos, but we can bands. We can do full bands.
How big is that sound room? You can get a band in there?
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
never
we've
seen
had
this
like
one before.
6 or 7 people. Then it goes around back.
So John's funny car career goes back so far. Up till 1981, you didn't necessarily run just the national events for world championships. You also ran regional races. Do you know if you've still got your trophy for winning a divisional race in funny car? Which there is no active funny car drivers that have won that. Him and Gary Dencham, I think, are the last two around that have done that. That won on a regional
I like
level.
this duo right here, John. This duo right here. This is real sweet.
Oh, that's Beckman.
Handsome guy.
I just put it up
Yeah,
this
look
morning.
at that.
Do you hear what he said?
What?
Just put it up this morning.
I just put it up this morning. So what do you call this room? What is this room called?
What we're looking at is this is where we put our cars in the very beginning, my championship cars, and all the different drivers. My daughter's top fuel car, and that's Courtney's car. This is nice. You can go and take pictures of everything, and I've decorated with pictures, trophies, and real race cars. So
Memories. Just huge memories.
Absolutely.
That used to be my office in that window, and then there was walls in there and all that. But I tore it all out and made it a pro store.
Do you have?
Yeah, I like them all. Different personal reasons. My kids' cars I really like. You know, like that car was the one Ashley drove, the McDonald's car. Yeah, that was pretty cool. This guy here, Neil Bonnet, NASCAR driver. These are my kids when they were little, my wife and all my kids.
That's what Jack was just saying.
Yeah, my daughter.
It's so special.
Let's go this way. These are just stuff I've collected and I put it in here. And this was Ashley's car, the Queen of Hearts. She had a lot of different cars, but just stuff we've collected. And then I built this theater because we bring the schools here and they can come in and do shows and bring the kids because I like kids. And in the middle of it, we just finished this set. We got marquees out front that say movie theater. Okay,
It's so cool.
Let's go this way. Here's more cars.
All these bodies.
Yeah, they go on and on.
Yes.
But anyway,
Upstairs, yeah. Golly.
yeah, we had.
And
to
these are
put-
what roll in the trailers? Do these racks?
Literally just for display. Because
Okay.
he ran out of room, so he had to go
Okay.
vertical.
Yeah,
Wow.
we do a lot of work here. I got a team that works here. These are my championship cars. This was my daughter's Mattel toy car, and she did a lot of. She opened a lot of toy stores that they had. Now it's kind of gone past. But these are just cars I've built over the years. But Indy's a lot bigger than this because it has my race teams there, and all the chassis shops and paint shops, and.
But you can imagine, Emily, Johnny, take us back. He'd park 4 big rigs out in the parking lot,
Yeah.
and then all the cars would have to come in through the tight opening in the door and have their own service bay here. It was really tight.
That was my original car. I went to Australia in, brute
Wow.
force, and then I came back. I built a Monza, then I built a Leo stereo. Started getting sponsors. Then I built Corvettes, and then Mountain Dew and Coca-Cola. That's a mold. But here's what.
To get your timestamp, John, this is 84, the Corvette, 84, 85, but that's going back to 75?
Yeah, I went to Australia in '74.
Yeah, so that's 50
Dude.
years ago,
Yes.
and he still drove till last year.
It's so awesome starting upstairs and then looping all the way through back to the cars that you started in. So this has been such an amazing tour, and I love it that you guys are back because Jack knows a ton of history of John's history, and you guys have a lot of years together. So give me kind of the report because you have a ton of history with this family, and you, of course, racing history is incredibly rich.
Well, John's not going to necessarily remember because he was this guy for 40 years
Right.
in Funny Car, and I was the fan at the ropes as a sportsman racer. But I've got a picture somewhere. I've moved 3 times since then. Like 1985, I snuck down on the starting line of this car doing a burnout. I was in the Air Force, in technical school, and I'm like, I remember watching that guy race at Orange County all the time, and he was just starting to make it. He hadn't won his first NHRA race yet, but you could tell he was turning the corner on this, and then it evolved to saying hi in the pits. I went to work at the Frank Hawley School. Ashley Force came through, then Robert Height, then Brittany and Courtney came through, then A&E was doing a show on the Forces. The whole family came through. His wife Lori got a license there, and he still wouldn't give me a job. And fast forward to 2024, when John got hurt, I was back to fixing elevators. I had a 14-year career, and I was 3 years, 9 months away from drag racing. And he called and said, "What do you think, kid?" I said, "Yes," and here we are.
And he jumped in your car.
Yeah, and by then I don't have a life anymore.
What an incredible trip that was. Both those guys have some amazing stories, and I feel like we only skimmed the surface of what stories they have in their noggins. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please leave us comments and tell us what you thought, and we can't wait to see you on the next upload.